I fell in love with the power of words when I was still young. I remember there's this poetry book my father had, and it had a poem called Death, etc., etc. From that time, I started looking at life differently. I think it's more fascinating to create than to receive.
There is a mindset intellectuals have. People who have faith in God are weak.
Religion is the opium of the masses. I believed as much that they were leaving to the politicians. They were easily being exploited. They gave us the Bibles to read, and they told us to close our eyes, and when we opened them, our land was gone. Human beings are not looked at as humans. Human beings are looked at as units of production. That's the language of Karl Marx.
Yeah.
And that system of profit does not care whether you are sick, you have to give birth, whether you are dead, you'll be replaced the next day. Capitalism wants us to work and work and work and work. Faith and spirituality? No. It wants us to work for God. It wants us to build for the kingdom to come, not the kingdom as we see it now.
What was your perspective about God in your earlier years of life?
I grew up in a Christian home, but when I joined high school, our liturgy prefect used to cane us to go for Sunday Mass. To go for the Mass, the priest was talking about repentance and forgiveness.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, no, this is not the kind of God I want.
Did you ever have any crisis of knowledge?
Every time I felt internal pain, I once contemplated taking my life.
Yeah.
I called out to God. It was at a point where I could not articulate what was going on inside of me. And I looked out for a higher power, seeking for some form of emotional clarity in yoga, meditation, Buddhism. So we visited shrines. I had been kicked out of my apartment. I had dropped out of the law profession. I had resigned from teaching. I had left my poetry group. I was accused of stealing 11 million shillings, and I had to return back home. And my mother says something. I don't remember what she said, but it was something about me being a disappointment. And I just walked back outside. Bought some cheap weed. We call it chibanga. Me, I was looking for death that night. And then that's when the thought came to me, why don't you just die? The next thought was the line, tell God I want to die. And then I thought, that could be a good title of a poem. There were a series of small events that led to that seismic shift. I was dating a lady, and she was a minister in church. Yeah. We were cohabiting with my intellectualism.
Yeah.
And how with her spirituality, I somehow found ways of living together. I had a really hot and short temper. So this one time, opened my poetic mouth and I say things. And so the next day she's like, you know what, Peter, you have an anger problem. I'm going to take you to a counselor. Now the counselor turned out to be her pastor. I'm like, Musumba, thank you so much for sharing the story. I'm inspired, but let me tell you the truth. I am cohabiting with your minister. And we had a fight. And we came here because I have an anger issue. But credit to that gentleman. So he told me, Peter, your problem at the time was not with God.
Yeah.
Your problem was with religion. Something in my mind snapped.
Yeah.